Hi, and welcome to another edition of Tiny Apartment Brewing. Today, I'm going to be brewing a beer called Broken Oath Ale. When I first started brewing, this is one of the first beers that I made. It's fairly easy to make. If you want to make it yourself, I'm going to put the recipe attached down below. I have already weighed out all my ingredients, and I'll attach a picture of them here somewhere so you can see the ingredients. And we will be doing another beer. This is an English bitter. It's going to be using English hops and English yeast. And next week I'm going to make the exact same beer, except I'm going to make it with American hops and American yeast. So I'm going to be able to do a taste test to see which one tastes better. My water's on to heat. I'm going to heat the water up to about 165 degrees. I'm going to add my malt extract to the water and mix it in thoroughly, and I'm going to drop my grains in. I didn't bother showing you how to crush the grains because you're probably going to buy crushed grains at your homebrew dealer, so I don't need to show you how to do that. Alrighty. This is going to be an interesting run for me because I have never brewed beer on an electric stove before. I've always used either gas, or towards the end of my large brewing era, I was using an all-in-one electric kettle, mash and boil. So this will be interesting. Now, in the grains that I've added, I've got some of my grains to give me color, and I've also got some base grains. I put the base grains in because they have enzymes that will help to convert some of the leftover starches in my malt extract to sugars. I've been told that that's a good way to do it, so we'll see how it works. Now that I've added my extracts to my hot water, I am stirring it thoroughly. You do not want to leave any of that sugary extract on the bottom of the pan or it'll scorch. Let's see how much temperature I've lost. Not too bad. It's 152 degrees, which is pretty much what I wanted. Alright, that's looking like it's thoroughly well mixed. So, let's drop in my grains. All of them. And cover it over. And timer. And I'm going to let that sit for 30 minutes. I'm spoiled by my automated system. I have to keep putting this on and off the heat to keep the temperature up. Well, for homebrew day, we are supposed to have a glass of our last batch. But since this is the first batch I've made in this house, I don't have any left over, so I'll just have a glass of my favorite Sierra Nevada Torpedo, my favorite store-bought beer. Well, that's coming to a boil. I wanted to talk a little bit about my choice of malt extract. I just get a plain light gold malt extract, and I do all of my flavor and color adjustments with added grains. Now, when you start making all grain beer, that's how you're going to do it. You're going to have a base malt, and you're going to have your added grains for your color and your mouthfeel and your flavor and whatnot. Now, a lot of kits that you'll see and a lot of recipes that you'll see talk about, making a stout, use dark malt, or use amber malt, or use some other colored malt. I find it's much easier to just use one base, liquid malt extract, and add my other grains for color and flavor. I hope you can see that I put a little bit of sugar in with the water to hydrate my yeast, and it is bubbling away like crazy, indicating that my yeast is good and lively. Alright, I finished my 1 hour boil. I filled my sink up with water and dumped a whole thing of ice cubes in it to cool it down. And I've got these ice cube things on a tray, or not in a tray, but in a plastic wrap that I've sanitized and I'm putting in my wort to cool it down. I want to cool it down as quickly as possible to pitching temperature. Okay, I've got my sanitizer and my ice tray here. Just give it a quick spray on each side to make sure that it's good and sanitary before I put it into my work. Keep cooling it off. Alright, I've cooled my work down to about 73 degrees. I'm just going to let it sit for a little while and settle out, and then I'm going to rack it off into my fermenting bucket, and we'll put it into the fermenting chamber. We'll show you how we do that in a bit. Okay, I'm going to rack my room temperature wort down into my fermenter. I just want to point out something to you guys. I don't know if you can see it, but I've got a cookie sheet underneath my fermenter and my hydrometer here. You want to put something like that down because you spill this stuff on the floor and your honey's going to hate you. Alright, one of the things you want to do here at this point is oxygenate this as much as possible. Later on in the process, no, but you're about to pitch yeast, and the yeast is going to need oxygen to do its thing. Alright, let's get this up out of the way before I hit it and knock it over. Let's see what we got going on here. I'm going to stop it there because I'm getting all kinds of gunk from the bottom of the kettle. Alright, you can go in there. Alright, need glasses. And there's no gravity here. It looks like 1050. You don't need to actually do the measurement like this. I'm just doing it because I have a hydrometer. Alright, 1050 there. You go back in there. Put this in the sink to wash it out. And we are going to pitch our yeast, which is looking very, very happy. Happy yeast, happy yeast. Get all of that in there. Great. Right, we'll wash that out. Okay, where's the handle over there? All right. And we'll seal that. You probably can't see me, I don't care. Put some water in my bubbler here. Put that in, and we're going to stop you because we're going to relocate. Weeks after that, we'll be able to taste it, but you won't see this video until the very end. Alright, and I'm going to insert a picture up here. You might have seen that I had a wrap around my fermenter. I've got a pan in my storage area that I fill up with water to make a swamp cooler. Because here in Florida, it's like 75 degrees, never gets any cooler than that in our house. And that's too high a temperature really for good fermentation. We want it down around 70, and I discovered when I set it up that I can get down to just about 70 degrees with the swamp cooler in my closet. All right, we'll see you in a little bit when we're racking it over. Hi, welcome back. I am getting ready to bottle my beer that we made a couple weeks ago. And right now I'm heating up the water from my priming sugar. And as soon as that's ready, I'll put that in. I'll sanitize all my equipment, and I will transfer it from the fermenter to the bottling bucket, which is down here. I'll try to angle it so you can see that. And then once I'm set with that, then I will bottle it and put it into the bottles. Alright, you saw racking before, so I don't really need to go over all that with you. What I'm adding here, I boiled a little bit of water and put 1 ounce of priming sugar in it. Come on, keep going, baby, keep going. Alright, there we go. We're all set. Here in the bottling bucket. Alright, drip out. Alright. You won't be able to see it, unfortunately. But you have to take my word for it. Final gravity is 1010. That's a good final gravity. It should have some flavor and still be good. I will calculate out afterwards what the exact alcohol content of that was. Alright, I sanitized this so I can put it right back into my bottling bucket, which will then come up here. Just get covered so it doesn't put any nastiness in it. Alright, and our bottling wand goes on here. Come on. There we go. Alright. Like I said before, anytime you're doing anything, always put down your cookie sheet to catch the drips. Otherwise your honey will be angry with you. Alright, I put priming sugar in here. It's thoroughly, let me just give it a quick mix just to make sure. It's good. Alright, and what I am also going to do, and I'll do this afterwards, after I bottle, I'm going to put a little pinch of yeast in each bottle. Not much, just a little pinch. Okay, open you up. There we go. And this tool was specifically designed with a valve on the bottom. And we push it up against the bottom of the bottle and it fills the bottle for us. And you can't really see it, but what I've done is left a little bit of space in it. Ball's about that full. And I am just going to stop this because you don't need to watch me fill all these bottles. That's going to be boring. Alright, I'm not in the frame, but I don't care. I've got 4 pint bottles that I got full. And I'm going to just put a little teeny smidge of yeast, just a few grains, in each one, just to make sure that our last fermentation here, where we're going to carbonate this beer, will take place because the yeast that is in there is maybe a little bit tired. Alright, and these are all ready to go into storage and sit for a couple of weeks, and then we'll taste test them. See you in a couple of weeks. One thing I forgot to mention, when you're filling up your bottling bucket, make sure that the drain valve is in the closed position. If it's in the open position, you'll have a mess all over the floor. Thanks. Hi, welcome back to Tiny Apartment Brewing. Alright, this is going to be the first tasting of the first beer that I made for this channel. I'm not opening it here. I opened it in the sink because I inadvertently put too much priming sugar in it and I was afraid I might have a gusher. Eventually this may end up being a gusher, but for the moment it seems good. I got a good little pop of carbonation. Yep, and it looks like it's foaming nicely. Although not a whole heck of a lot. And we will catch it right there and not put any of the dregs down in. Okay. Actually isn't as clear as it was when I bottled it. It's probably just because it's cold. It's got a little bit of chill haze. This is an English pale ale, somewhat like a Bass ale. It's not bad. The carbonation level is good. It's probably going to come up some with time. No, it's not bad at all. It's fairly malty. It's not as hoppy as you might like for a pale ale. But otherwise, it's pretty darn good. Definitely like it. Definitely think it's got a little bit of that. People call it a twang from using extract, from using a liquid extract. I was hoping to avoid that by putting in some actual base grains with it to help it convert a little more, to get away from that. And it's definitely less than I've had in some beers with extract, so that definitely has helped. Maybe I'll try down the road going with a little bit more of the base malt, or even letting it steep for an hour instead of a half an hour. But if you enjoy these videos, I'm going to be putting one up every week. Some will be brewing, some will be other things. Please like, subscribe, and tell all your brewing friends.